We want thickness.
So, being black and Puerto Rican, I understand you identify as black. That's your heart
Oh
and
yeah.
soul. Where was mom's in the picture?
You know what's funny about that? I don't get asked that a lot. Unfortunately, my mother had me at 16. She was on drugs and had mental health issues. So
Okay.
my father took custody of me when I was 2. My brother was 8 months. So I don't have no memory of her,
Okay.
nothing. And I think that kind of, I think I met her when I was about 14 or 15. But it's like
Really?
meeting her. I'm not angry and I forgive her, but that's kind of like a hard subject for me because it's like being around a stranger. I'm not upset, but I have no emotional connection when I see her. When I see her, I just refer to her as her first name. It's like, oh, hi, But I have no anger or hate towards her because looking back, me being like, I get it. You're 16, you're a child. And then my mother had 7 biological children who were all took into the system. So I'm grateful that my father took her to the plate and took me and my brother. You know what I mean? But I have no hate towards her. I think the only thing that's frustrating for me and her is I had to teach myself to be a woman. Like when I started my period, I had a crush on a boy, because my dad's a man. I can't talk to my dad about, bleeding or me liking boys. Like, hell, give me a whooping,
So there was no woman figure you could
I
have
had
looked out. No auntie, no person at school, no coach or anything.
No,
like
so
that?
I feel like I had to like raise myself as far as my father raised me with discipline and respect, and I always respected. Like, at the time I was mad, I thought he was mean or strict, and which But now me looking back, I was raised with. But I don't have any I don't have a nurturing or loving bone in my body really. If I did have to have any, because he was married 5 times, he had I had a lot of stepmoms, but they didn't really care for me. I was just if I had to give credit to any woman figure, it would be my grandmother, which is my father's mother, my grandma, and 3 of my aunties. Like, they helped me with they taught me somewhat what they could on how to dress and hygiene and things like that. As much as they could. Like I said, my father was strict. We were closed off. But for the most part, I didn't really have a mother figure growing up. It was just me. You know what I mean?
I understand. Okay, so do you feel like you've had to work hard to be a good mom of 2 with no mom example?
I'm
for
actually
you?
that's one of my struggles right now. While I was on the verge of retirement, because I'm struggling with my oldest daughter right now. Because she's going through the same thing I'm going through.
Yeah, she's in her teens, right?
Me being the single parent, and she's rebelling and being a little asshole right now. You know what I mean? She's actually in a juvenile hall right now because she's, in gangs
dear.
and stuff. Yeah, so it's unfortunate I'm going through with her. And there's, but me being where she was at, I feel she has an advantage than I have for me to reason with her. So I hope one day she'll listen. Right now she's not. But I hope that one day that I can actually break through to her, because, it's a generation thing sometimes. So, you know what I mean? So maybe it's my karma from my dad. So I'm sorry, Dad. I know your pain now. But, I feel like even if I did have a mom, I feel like there is no manual on parenting. That's what I learned. Because my father raised me strict by the book. And look how I turned out. I'm still sexual, whatever. My daughter, my kids, I'm more the laid back. I'm like the cool mom.
I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
I'm a cool mom.
Yeah.
I don't really spank my children, because I have a strong voice. I'm more of a yeller. If I yell at my kids, they'll break down in tears. You know what I mean? I'm not really a hitter. I don't have to spank my children, and they have some type of a fear of my voice. And my daughter still turned out the way I was, being bad. So, you know what I mean? Or bad-ish. So, with that being said, to answer your question, I didn't have a mom or a father figure, so I'm still trying to figure it out right now. Yeah.
I want to commend you just, for remaining strong. And I've always, a question that always hits my mind when I get the parents on here is how do you balance, this type of career with, raising kids?
That's the $1 million question. And I dealt with that. I dealt with that. People say, well, what if your kids see your porn? And I never really, I thought people were just being assholes. But, for a little while, my daughter was being bullied behind it. And that was a big thing I went through.
Wow.
She would argue with kids because I'll show you a picture. She's a very pretty young lady. And the neighborhood boy liked her. Mm-hmm. So she got in a couple fights behind the girls, fighting over him. And they can't really call her ugly or bald-headed or really, talk about her. So I don't know how they found out, little shits. They found out I did porn. And they were teasing her, sending her screenshots. And I was going through shit like that. Yeah. So that was the biggest, I think that was the hardest thing I went through in my career. Me after having to deal with that. And I really don't have an answer for it. It's like a real shitty feeling. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. I feel like a real scumbag when she had to experience that. But in my mind, I'm thinking they're fucking 12. Out of all the bitches y'all could have watched, I always want to watch me. But, I live in a small town, so I know their parents probably went to school with me. Like people talking. And
in a way, it's almost a testament to how poppin' you are, but at the same time, in a small town, And I don't really know about living in a small town, other than, when I was at Hampton. But
it's like back in the day, they call your mom a crackhead. If your mom was a crackhead in the 90s, you never lived it down.
So I lived in L.A. my whole life, but this is a big, small town.
My mom's a porn star, so, she went through that for, she got about 6 fights behind that.
Wow.
And got to the point where I had to get us both in counseling. I had to really sit down and explain to her, my traumas and why I chose that, and to let her know that you can't get upset every time a kid says that. You're gonna have to learn a way to, you know, go around that, because at the end of the day, that is what I do, and I'm sorry if I, you know, embarrass you, but you know what I mean? Like, this is like, you know, this is where I've come to, like, and this is what supports our household. This is why you live better than little, half them hoes talking about you. It's 5, 6 little bitches living in on air mattresses in a 1 bedroom. You got your own room, a 40-inch flat screen. You got the newest iPhone, like the newest clothes, the newest shoes. You're not being abused. Like, you live in a good, comfortable setting. And half them hoes talking about you is miserable. Like, grew up how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Poor. Like, so that's the only thing that's the light at the end of the tunnel that I try to focus on with her, because there's no way around.
Yeah, it's like you're doing this so your kids can live better, you know?
Yeah, like
you had to explain, like, hey, this is what puts clothes on your back, food on the table, roof over the head. Like,
yeah, you know, and I just, you know, it's just a lot. I can't really explain it. It's like a thing. It's like I can't really explain it. It's like doing something and then someone like getting caught, like, I don't know, maybe like cheating or smoking crack. I don't know, like something that's fucked up and it's outlandish, or like getting caught watching animal porn. And you can never live that down. That's how I feel about it. It's like, oh, it's like the awkward. It's like an awkward moment of silence where you just have to say, you know, all right, fuck it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The bees and the, you know, what's that called? The bees and the birds.
Birds and the bees.
Yeah, that is okay, mama. You're at this age now. She was 12 or 13. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck it. This is what it is. And then she understood. You know what I mean? And then she got in 2 more fights after that, because she was like, I don't give a fuck. You're my mama. I'm about to fight him anyway. Yeah. And now she kind of claps back, like, you know, like fuck y'all. You know what I mean?
Shout out to you, Ruby Jr.
Free
young little
free
Ruby.
Little Ruby right now. She's holding it down right now.
Free little Ruby.
My little crazy baby.
My God. Okay.
Hey now, say now, it's Ruby Monroe. We're in the Thickness Protection Program, baby, and we want that thickness. Yeah.